All right, everyone, the meltdown of the Democratic Party has continued while people are so busy fixating on, hey, Trump's got low approval, Trump did this and that, and also that ties in with a Pew Research study from back in October that I wasn't aware of. Nobody, tweeted it at me. Shame on you. I'm just joking, but it shows us all, yes, indeed, the legacy media is being completely abjectly unfair. Ties right into that. That's why people are so fixated on the Trump issue. Meanwhile, though, in the last 24 hours, Hillary Clinton came out and did her usual insult wrapped in a compliment-style jab at Obama. And that was a big mistake because Sebelius came out to defend Obama. And Obama would rip Hillary Clinton apart in a debate. I hate to say it. Obama's not the greatest debater. You got to realize, his speaking skills were touted as great primarily because people were comparing him to incoherent, half-literate George W. Bush. That being said, though, he's still in a different league from Hillary Clinton. She comes out and says, well, it was difficult to follow his act. I didn't always agree with him, which is the insult. She's basically intoning, yeah, his presidency flopped, that's why I lost the election. But at the same time, I think overall, he did pretty well. He needs my approval because he's younger and because I would have called him the help if he were just a senator at the time. That's why Hillary Clinton's actually thinking. That's her mentality. She loves to project that other people are obsessed with the racial issue. Sorry, but when she was in the governor's mansion, she had all sorts of interesting, literally colorful characters waiting on her hand and foot, Southern plantation style. So, I think that's a little bit of a projection there, sort of like a Ted Haggard act. But she says that, and then Sebelius comes out to say, well, the Clintons have been abusive, and another thing that they're really talking about right now is Bill Clinton and his, sex abuse scandal stuff. They're fixated on Monica Lewinsky. It's like, oh, well, he's kind of coerced her because, he's the president. She's his employee. Okay, and I understand now that's a coercive situation. She doesn't even say, though, that it's coercive. Monica Lewinsky always said it was consensual. She just wanted people to know, I fucked the president of the United States even though he's married and in office at the time. She wanted them to know that, and Clinton denied it. And Hillary Clinton's come out and attempted to lambaste every woman who's ever said, yeah, Bubba Bill touched me inappropriately. He made suggestive comments to me. He flashed me his cock. He tried to sexually assault me. This has happened half a dozen times in Bill Clinton's life. Hillary Clinton has always attempted to character assassinate and intimidate anybody who makes such claims. Other claims, it's like, if you just claim, hey, the Clintons are corrupt, they embezzle money all the time, they do, they run drugs, and the Clinton Foundation takes illicit money from China and Saudi Arabia, and she's basically controlled by them, which is true. If you claim that, nobody cares. But if you actually, if you have been personally victimized by a Clinton, Hillary Clinton will very kindly let you know how many times you will shoot yourself in the back of the head should you actually come forward and persist in your story. What do you think happens to these people? Vince Foster, oh yeah, I accidentally shot myself like 3 or 4 times in the back. It was a great time. What a wonderful suicide attempt. It's like, yeah, I transcended physical possibilities with this one, says poor Vince, as he's lying there bleeding out, getting shot several times. That's sort of the MO of the Clinton crime family. But trying to go after the Obama legacy isn't going to do well, especially when Bill Clinton's legacy is failing right now. Because here's the problem. The left has difficulty dealing with the Franken situation, the Conyers situation. Now it's having trouble grappling with the only... Jimmy Carter's too old to do much for the Democrats. Nor, by the way, is he really willing, because he would be almost like a Republican at this point. Compared to some of the more out there progressives, he'd be considered right-wing. He was not a fan of abortion. He's a religious man. He doesn't have anything in common with today's Democratic Party, at least on its face. But now they have to give up Bill Clinton, too. Who do they have left? Nobody. They have literally no leadership. If the Clintons aren't there to lead the Democratic Party, I'm sorry. They've got a bunch of inexperienced upstarts. Some of them, like a Gillibrand or something. It's a fresh, shiny face, maybe someone charismatic, but it's not someone with quite enough experience to lead the whole party. And it's probably, you put somebody like that up against Trump, he's going to chew him up and spit him out. I'm saying, again, the Democrats don't understand this. They think they're making the same fucking mistake even though they were proven wrong the first time. They dismissed Trump. They said, wow, I wish Trump would become the nominee. He'd be so easy to beat. It'd be so great. Hillary Clinton would be she'd be coronated. Well, no, she was in the primaries, just not in the general. That was your problem as a party. Because you dealt with that shit. They said Trump could never possibly win. And all throughout, once he becomes the nominee, they're sitting there, they're congratulating themselves and sitting on their laurels that they think they've already won. They're not even making an attempt. They're not doing outreach. They're just saying stupid shit. They have no real platform other than our candidate's female and not Donald Trump. They wonder why they lose. They're doing the same thing now. They're still being dismissive of him. They're still underestimating his capabilities. They're still underestimating how his platform is malleable enough because of the way he conducts his business. He can keep his platform malleable enough to do a little bit of outreach. They're going to have to make up for lost time. I hate to tell the Democrats this. Your party is in so much disarray and chaos right now. It is astonishing to me that lay Democrats aren't not only pissed off at the Democratic Party's leadership, or rather lack thereof, at Perez, at the Clintons, at even the Obamas, who are stepping back away from the fray, largely don't want to get involved. I don't blame them, but you should be pissed off at them for not saving your party at this point. Obama would be a better bet to lead you in a sort of diplomatic manner than most of the people associated right now with the higher rungs of the DNC. Donna Brazile, who you all tried to lambaste, was trying to reform the Democratic Party by saying, yeah, the DNC was doing dirty shit during the primaries and we should, address it as a party. And all the Democrats just said, no, nothing dirty happened. And when, of course, it did happen, they say, oh yeah, but we don't need to address it because look how dirty those Republicans are. That's not going to work. You tried that during the election. Okay, it's time to let that go. You need leadership. You're not going to get it from the Clintonian side. You can't get it from a Sanders or anything like that because he's not a Democrat and you fucked him over, so he's probably not going to be willing to lead your party. He's also definitely not going to run again. It'd be more likely that Clinton would run. I half expect her to. I half expect Trump to spend the next few years antagonizing her. Just absolutely insulting her as much as possible, which is amusing. She deserves it. Because you judge her based on the content of her character. Content of her character is shitty. She gets so antagonized she actually runs. She probably wouldn't even win the nomination even if she tried to rig it because there'd be such an uproar within the party. But she and the neoliberals will definitely attempt to coronate somebody else. Now, the Democratic Party needs to be aware that this will happen. It's the way that they've conducted business election after election after election. That was fine in the 90s. It was fine in the 2000s, and give 50-50 or something. It doesn't work anymore. We've got the internet now. So long as people have an independent platform on social media of any real substance whatsoever, it's not going to work. The big money coronation campaign, the act as though there were an actual campaign going on will no longer, I think, hold enough water. When Clinton comes out and does their backwards-ass, passive-aggressive insult bullshit to somebody like Obama, who is way more popular than she is, it's not a great idea. Now, this is just a continuation, though, of the sour grapes for the last fucking year. Clinton has blamed literally every party in the world, except for herself, for her election loss. While she does this too. She'll take responsibility for it, but then she'll make 10 excuses as to why she's not actually taking responsibility. Oh, I'm the candidate, ultimately it's on me, but I didn't get enough support from the DNC. Obama was a hard act to follow and, you pissed people off and you alienated some voting blocks. The youth didn't come out in large enough numbers. Female voters abandoned me. I feel personally incensed at that. Not enough black people voted for me because I told them I liked hot sauce on my chicken wings. This is the way that she thinks. This is the way the Clintons do business. It's the pity me parade after they lose. If they win, they immediately go out and try to stab everyone in the back, call in all the favors, grab up the money like, remember the mafioso pardons that Bubba Bill did in the twilight of his second term? The last few weeks of his presidency, he's running off pardon after pardon after pardon. Oh, all these people are the career criminals and stuff. It's a little bit of people with personal associations in some way with the Clintons. Ooh, I wonder why they got pardoned. Don't worry, not a threat to society. Give me that pile of cash over there. How do you think they got started? It was all under the table. They said, oh, we came out of the White House broke. Yeah, on paper you were broke. Yeah, on mafia paper you were already worth tens of millions, I'm sure. You had no problem. Oh, we only had 3 homes at the time. It was terrible. We didn't have our 5th condominium in our luxury penthouse yet. We were living like peasants, she said. You know, we were totally broke. You know, I could get $400,000 for a half an hour speech, but that's not enough money for me. So, an entire presidential year's salary, like that made any difference. Watching Clinton meltdown and watching the Democrats meltdown, it's not just that. It's Franken, it's Conyers. They're going to lose a senator. They're going to lose a representative. That's not great for them. Going into these midterms, they're talking about they want to take back the House and the Senate. And they're about to lose one of each because of sex scandals. Meanwhile, they're still saying, well, the Republicans have a sex abuse problem. Weinstein, the big one that triggered all of this, he was a major donor and fundraiser for the Democratic apparatus. We're talking tens of millions of dollars. A heavy hitter, somebody who can pump a campaign full of quite a bit of money if he chooses to do so. Democrat. Partisan Democrat and, neoliberal. None of these people are progressives, though. Kevin Spacey, liberal. The list goes to K, liberal. Now, it doesn't matter if it's just allegation, though. And in the case of Franken, there's a picture. In the case of Conyers, there's a settlement. The funny part is that the two that are the most politically connected and the most potentially powerful are also the ones for which the most evidence exists that they did something wrong. As for Bubba Bill, it's been known forever that he was involved with that sort of thing. It's not really an allegation. It's more like, hey, I do illicit things with staffers, interns, people's wives, and I pay them hush money. And then if they don't shut up, or take the hush money, I have my wife stomp all over them. That's the way the Clintons did business for several decades, back when Bubba was fucking everything with 2 legs. Hopefully nothing with 4 legs at the time. He has problems. It's known that he has problems. Let's look at the Monica Lewinsky scandal. That one was consensual, but he still lied. Hillary still was trotted out to try to defame everybody who was alleging that anything went on. And it turned out, of course, the claim was true. Later on he admits, oh yeah, I had sex with that woman. At the time, though, he perjured himself. He said, no, I didn't sleep with her. I barely know her. What are you talking about? I never shoved my cigar in any orifices. It never happened. And it did. He lied to Congress. He lied to the American people. It's like, this is the least of the scandals you've ever been alleged to be part of, though. It's the one where it's consensual. So it doesn't really matter as much. It's just, it's an affair. Yeah, it's sort of a master-servant situation. You're the president. This is, White House intern. Understood. But she's saying, it was consensual. He wanted to bang me. He wanted to stick his little Bubba inside of my Bubba hole. So I let him Bubba me. Okay, that's fine. Who cares? But then there are those other, what was it? How many women claimed throughout the years that Bubba Bill did inappropriate things with them? I know it was at least a half a dozen. I think it was upwards of a dozen, though. It was a large number of people. And then they tried to play the equivalency game with the Trump claimants. There's a difference between, hey, a settlement was reached, I wonder why, and hey, I'm not even going to justify these claims by addressing them. And you remember, and this was masterful at the time, you do remember, of course, at the debate when Trump had several of Bill Clinton's accusers sitting in at the audience, and the look on his face, that was a disaster for the Clinton campaign. It brought all of that stuff to everyone's minds. It also let them know, hey, this goes beyond Lewinsky, who's the only one you remember. There are all these other people who say, yeah, Bill raped me. Bill touched me inappropriately against my will. It helped them it jogged their memories that the Clintons were involved with that. By the way, you would have hated, by now, Hillary Clinton's approval would probably be lower than Trump's right now had she actually won. You got to understand this. The reason why some of the Democrats are like, oh, if only Clinton had won. You'll never see a Clinton presidency. You won't get to compare the two. All of a sudden, Trump's approval would be fine if he had lost. Trump would be well-liked still at the moment. He'd be off doing more WrestleMania or something. That's about all. Peace out.